Finally, it's that time of the year as a melange of WWE Superstars compete in a ladder match to try and grab that all-important briefcase high above the ring that contains a contract for the winner to cash in at any time on a WWE Champion. Who will be this year's winners? Who will be walking out as champion? And are we likely to get a cash in? Well, let's get right into it as we predict all the winners. Number 1. Bryan and Erick Rowan vs the Usos on the Kickoff show. On this week's edition of SmackDown Live, the Usos once again used the wildcard rule to help save The Miz and Roman Reigns from a beatdown in the ring, and would later face the group in a 4-on-3 handicap match. The team of Shane McMahon, Elias, Bryan and Erick Rowan managed to defeat the trio, but it seems that the Usos still have unfinished business with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Thus, a non-title match was made for the Kickoff show. A non-title match is understandable as it will be confusing for a Raw tag team to win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, where they can only defend the belts using the wildcard rule every week just to compete. So this seems like a bit of a giveaway, as in the majority of non-title matches, there's no risk for the tag team champions, so they'll usually underperform. It's simple 50-50 booking. The Usos lose on SmackDown, and will get their redemption at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view so that they can at least give another wildcard spot to another team or superstar to show up on SmackDown. Does it make sense? Well, I hope so. Comment down below and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. But for this match, we see the Usos winning this one. Number 2. Nese defends his Cruiserweight Championship against Ariya Davari on the Kickoff show. Well, there's no surprise here. A Cruiserweight title match on the Kickoff show? That never happens. Nese managed to defeat the Aussie Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania 35, and so far he's had a strong showing with the title, defeating the likes of Drew Gulak and Ligero on 205 Live recently. Nese is taking this defense lightly, but there should be no reason to overlook his challenger Ariya Davari come this Sunday. These two have teamed up together in the past, but have never faced off. Davari is a solid worker, and is also a big fan of the Behind the Titantron series, so naturally we're rooting for him. It's also nice to see him finally get a well-deserved title shot. However, we don't think WWE will take a big step and put the belt on him just yet, so we see Nese retaining the belt in this one. Number 3. Samoa Joe defends his United States Championship against Rey Mysterio. The US title match between the Master of the 619 and the Samoan Submission Machine was largely disappointing at WrestleMania 35, largely due to the match being over in just a matter of seconds, as Joe choked him out with his signature Coquina Clutch submission. Rey then managed to pin him in a non-title match on Raw, but once again, Mysterio has earned the opportunity to win the belt once again. Currently, Mysterio is only one title away from entering history as a Grand Slam champion to join the ranks of other such legends as best friend Eddie Guerrero, Kofi Kingston and many more. But during this match, somehow Dominic, who has been supporting his father throughout this feud, will get involved, possibly even costing Rey the match. If you managed to catch our recent video on the Money in the Bank rumors, you might be aware that Dominic has been training professionally, so perhaps he might be getting in the ring soon to even the odds in terms of size. As for our winner, we see Samoa Joe retaining the belt. Number 4. The Miz vs Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. Both the A-lister and the best in the world have been in a very personal feud after Shane turned his back on the Miz and subsequently attacked his father George Mizanin. We thought the feud would be over after the Superstar shakeup, but even after a move to the red brand, it hasn't stopped the Miz from getting his own back on Shane McMahon. So far, Shane O'Mac leads with one win after he defeated him at WrestleMania after the Miz suplexed him off some scaffolding to some boxes down below. But this time, there won't be any chance of the two fighting around the XL Center, as they'll be locked up in a steel cage with nowhere to run. Naturally, this being a steel cage match, it's certain that Shane will do something crazy off the top. But the high risk could be his downfall though, with the Miz capitalizing and making it 1-1. With a draw, it's certain that they'll carry on this feud, where it's sure to culminate at SummerSlam. So in this match, we see the Miz winning, evening up the wins. Number 5. Roman Reigns vs Elias. During the Superstar shakeup this year, WWE's head honcho Vince McMahon was going to announce his biggest acquisition on SmackDown Live, which turned out to be the drifter Elias. Elias, however, wasn't the biggest acquisition, as Roman Reigns revealed himself as the newest and biggest trade to the Blue brand. Upon arriving, Reigns certainly didn't want to walk with Elias, and the two clashed in the ring, with him even striking the septuagenarian with a Superman punch. An irate Shane McMahon and Elias ambushed Reigns the week after, and surely that was enough to set up a match between the two. This has certainly propelled Elias' status in the WWE, going up against the WWE's top star, but don't expect him to get the win. This match will purely add another win to Roman Reigns' tally of wins since his return. Number 6. The Women's Money in the Bank Ladder Match. This match marks the fourth, or third if those aren't counting the rematch, Women's Money in the Bank match ever, and judging by its history, having a 100% successful cash-in rate, things could certainly look good for the winner. Last year's winner Alexa Bliss wasted no time in cashing it in against a wounded Nia Jax, so could Bliss make it 2 for 2 and do the same thing to Becky Lynch this year? Well, no, that's not actually going to happen, as last night WWE announced that she's not medically cleared to compete in the match, and they have replaced her with Nikki Cross. Whilst we applaud the WWE's decision to put Cross in the match, they need to stop advertising her for events if they're unsure about her condition. It's just straight up false advertising. But anyway, Nikki Cross has some hard competition, as the likes of Ember Moon, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke, who are hungry for their first title win, are all strong competitors, and she also has to look out for former champions Bayley, Natalya, Naomi, and last but certainly not least 2017's winner Carmella. The way we see it is that a heel is winning the Money in the Bank, thus giving us a reason why they would cash it in on an exhausted Becky Lynch later on in the night, as a face like Bayley wouldn't do that. She would wait to officially announce it. That is unless she makes a heel turn. Our money though is on Mandy Rose, with a possible cash in later on. Number 7. The Men's Money in the Bank Ladder Match. Up until Monday Night Raw this week, Braun Strowman had another chance to become Mr. Monster Money in the Bank, but lost his spot thanks to Sami Zayn. We for one are not exactly disappointed at the fact that he's not in anymore, as the whole match normally revolves around him. This match is the one we're looking forward to the most, as a contrast of size and power from McIntyre and Baron Corbin will have to combat high-flying flexibility from the likes of Ricochet, Andrade, Mustafa Ali, Zayn and Balor, as well as Viper-like speed and experience from Randy Orton. Any one of these wrestlers could win it, and the odds-on favourite going into the match is the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre, as he's been expected to have a massive push ever since he arrived on the main roster. The thing is, Drew doesn't need the gimmick of a briefcase to cash in to make him a credible contender for the championship. On the other hand, a briefcase would fit better for Andrade. Officials have been high on Andrade, and since he's reportedly engaged to Vince's favourite superstar Charlotte Flair, who apparently has some pulling power backstage, he seems like the most likely winner. So we predict Andrade becoming the Men's Money in the Bank winner. Number 8. Becky Lynch puts the Raw Women's Championship on the line against Lacey Evans. Becky 2 Belts faces a gargantuan challenge ahead of her this Sunday, as she puts both belts on the line in 2 separate matches. It's possible, but first she'll defend her Raw Women's Championship against the unlikely contender of Lacey Evans, who has been catapulted into the title picture after only recently making her main roster debut. Whilst we don't think WWE are ready to put the belt on Lacey Evans just yet, it'll be interesting to see whether this match is booked before or after the women's ladder match, as this could see a quick cash in after the match. Nevertheless, we see Becky retaining in this one. Number 9. Becky Lynch puts the SmackDown Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair. Again, the same idea applies with this match as well. Will it go on first or last? If it goes on last, there's no doubt Lynch will be exhausted against a fresh Charlotte Flair. Somehow though, we don't see Flair winning it, as Becky gives it her all to prevail and retain her championship. However, we could then see the winner of the Women's Money in the Bank match come in after to capitalise on an exhausted Lynch, making her easy pickings. Lynch more than likely won't be leaving the XL Centre with both championships. She will however win the match. Number 10. Kofi Kingston defends the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. Now the funny thing about this match is that it was never supposed to happen this early. In fact, before Daniel Bryan was reportedly injured after WrestleMania 35, this was supposed to be a rematch between the two, but WWE chose to turn Owens heel, and this is where we are now. Who is going to leave the pay-per-view as champion though? We're predicting Kofi retains. He's still over with the fans and is doing a great job on the blue brand as champion. And the fact that plans were changed after Mania also leads us to believe Kofi is retaining. And number 11, Seth Rollins defends the Universal Championship against AJ Styles. It's now time for presumably the main event between the Architect and the Phenomenal One, a dream match most of us have waited for since AJ stepped foot in the WWE, and it's finally happening 3 years later. The two have never faced each other. They are two of the biggest babyfaces in WWE right now, but at the end of the night, we see Rollins retaining, but Styles turning heel as the red brand isn't big enough for the two of them. Styles is going to get desperate and get DQ'd, and if Lesnar doesn't come back to regular competition, Rollins needs a good heel to work with up until SummerSlam, and since this is the first time these two will face off in the ring, something tells us this is going to be one of many matches for the WWE to milk. Seth Rollins will be the winner by disqualification. These are our predictions, but what about yours? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.